Hi guys, and welcome back. My name is Antonio Seri, from crrntn.com. Continuing the series Hollywood movie title, today we recreate the Thor title animation style. In this tutorial we will create the logo in Cinema 4D, and we will proceed with the application of textures and animation setting. Finally, we will do the styling compositing in After Effects to give an epic impact to our animated sequence. Open the file Thor Start on Cinema 4D. This file was created directly on Cinema 4D, starting from a font to the external part. After having duplicate, the spline external outline has been modified to create a false path concentric, to create this particular result. A premise about the font used in this project. This is of a particular commercial font, Gaudi Trajan. Very elegant. In the specific, I used the bold style as a starting point. You should know that in this fonts, we are also some special letters, which are designed to make the final result more interesting. In fact, in this case, we used the letters T and R. For the R letter, it has been modified, using the basis of the letter P in the final part of the R. Great. A very beautiful work. When I said false concentric path, I was referring to this. Look at, the central body is concentric with a thickness of 2 units, while the external parts are much closer to the outside, say, 0.3 units away. Using the Selection Points tool, this is easy to do. This is the basic 2D drawing. It is not necessary to use vector drawing software for this. If you do not have the font Gaudi, you can use the normal Trajan. OK, before we set in the document setting panel the parameters of the project. Our sequence is 80 frames. To simplify the work we have to separate into 2 groups on the outer and inner paths, so you have organized the layers in the document. The outer splines are the cap of the logo, while the interior splines are the body central path. We insert the all outer paths inside the extrude tool. With hierarchical check, active. Depth, 15. And fillet cap, 5, width, radius of 0.5. We can make the surfaces more smoother. Inputting to adaptive angle 0. Looks good for me. For the body central logo, insert a depth of extrudes of -90. For the moment, this value will serve as a reference for the moving of the duplicate of the first path extrudes. We select all the letters of the outside part and duplicate. Finally, in the coordinates panel of the Z position, insert -91. With this simple step we got the front of the logo. Now, we can change the depth of the body from 90 to -76. Yes, matches perfectly. View the result. OK. This is the base of the logo. We proceed with the subdivision and layer organization through the C key. As we can see, the layers have already been renamed. This saves us time. For the frontal and behind cap, you can separate or merge the paths, letter by letter. We organize all layers of the letters. Follow me on video. Grouped all layers of the letters of the logo. Rename it Logo Global. This is very important when we will make the sequence animation. Insert a camera, and reset all the values except the Z position to -1920. Continue this operation. In the render setting panel, follow the parameters on video. Check Alpha channel active. In this project, the camera must have the focal length to 50. In fact, if we bring in the Curtianti panel, the value, from 1920 to -2765. I'll show you why this is. If we compare the two cameras, the value of 50 makes the image of the logo when it is positioned at the end, with a thinner depth, is an optical illusion, and this technique is used with logos with depth over 100 units. Save a copy of our files with the suffix animation. Let's create the animation of the letters, which will eventually we will have an symmetric rotation effect. Activate keyframes in the frame 0 and 50. On H rotation. In frame 0, the letter T and H have the value -48. While the letter O and R value is 48. Activate the layer global logo and follow me for settings of the sequence of keyframes. You can change the sequence according to your logo. In this case, the departure is above the letter H. Okay, this is my result. You can create a sequence animation to your liking, with fewer keyframes. The important thing is to start with the position of the letter, with rotation of almost 90 degrees with respect to the camera visualization. The result will be great. A small introduction about the texture used in the project. If we visualize the original logo, the central body has an engraved effect with a theme. For obtain this result, we need a specific texture. Normal map is a particular texture, which when applied to an object, create the effect of engraved bevel. In this case, the drawing has a theme like this. You can apply different textures, the result will be interesting and always different. Let's take a look at the texture will be applied on our logo. Basic color, the theme of the engraved effect. The normal map. The scratched steel. Finally, the map of the sky. Okay, open the file, Light Materials. The first interesting material is the drawing engraved theme, obtained with the application the alpha channel. Do not make attention that it is called with suffix, normal map. Actually, is this the material where I applied the normal map that was made active on the color base? Also I set bump chan for improve the final result. Obviously, we have the sky map. In the chrome material, we have a bump with a scratched steel texture. I also added a darker version. Let's see how the material behaves engraved base. We apply it on a simple cube. The result is very cool, but we can improve the final result with adding the second material with alpha channel and small bump engraved. The result is amazing. The chrome material has a surface highly reflective and at the same time scratched. Very, very nice. Finally, in the sky material, I applied a sky texture with a use to simple luminance setting. we copy and paste in our project. In this project I also added a plain circle, to create a surface on which the logo reflects the starting white. This is only in the beginning of the sequence. From frame 23 is no longer present in the animation, through the use of the display tag. The sky is simulated with a big sphere in the scene, with radius 3000. In this project, I applied a small rotation sequence on the sky. So chrome reflection on the front logo is always moving. Proceed with the insertion of materials. Even in view base mode, these textures are very interesting. Do we make a render image for view the real result with all engraved details effect? Simply divine. There are all details that serve to our animation, the chrome, the engraved. Perfect. Before you proceed with rendering, if you want to use, I also added a light system consists of two lights, omni and area. They give more illumination on engraved texture. Very interesting. If you want, you can experiment with them a custom solution, compared to original animation. Here is the result of the render. In this tutorial, you can apply simple steps on After Effects for a fast result. But I want you to see, as is possible through the use of alpha masks, get a result very cool. The masks are present in the folder AE Star Cap, End Cap, Body Central, Bevel Highlights, and finally, the two dark clouds, which serve as, the first is the basis of animation, and the second, for give more clouds presence on the chrome reflection on front logo at the end of our sequence animation. As always, all the presets are very useful for this work and for your future work of the animations. Open After Effects and we import the videos. We create the main comp with Thor logo, and rename Thor Preview. Obviously all the Video Cinema 4D were rendered with the alpha channel. With the layered Thor logo, we create a logo pre-comp. Within this pre-comp, I will show you how to improve your logo to the maximum result. Before moving to the pre-comp Thor logo, drag the dark clouds under the layer of the logo. Inside it, we import the rest of the videos except the two dark clouds. Move the timeline at frame 0, and apply the first preset. I divided by color presets that will be applied in the pre-comp logo, and in the main composition. This first preset consists of 3 effects that correct the brightness and the color. I applied some simple interpolations based on the position and rotation of the logo. The exposure between frames 13 and 23, value change from 1 to 0. While the hue and saturation effect make a change in color saturation value from 10 to 23, between frames 28 and 35. These values are purely personal taste. You can edit as you like. Finally, I darken all, with the curve effect. With the alpha channel bevel highlights we can emphasize the light in the all bevels of the logo. How? We set layer, in lighten mode. And on opacity insert a value between 17 and 30. Simple and effective. Duplicate the logo Thor layer, with all the effects and drag it above the layer alpha body. And active the track matte to Luma. In this way we can modify effect settings only on the central body of the logo. I applied on this layer, screen mode with a small interpolation of opacity, from 0 to 100 between 15 and 32 frames. Obviously, in this case you can experiment with other custom settings. Okay, we proceed to improve the chrome reflection on the front logo, using the Video Dark Clouds Reflection logo. We activate the Luma track matte with the alpha channel cap start. Import and apply the preset. This preset is made up of hue effect, which decreases the overall saturation of the clouds. The mix of curve and levels makes it all turned off. All this has a purpose, because if the layer is set to soft light with opacity between 30 and 45, we have a very natural result, as if it were already obtained from the 3D rendering. Good. OK, duplicate the layer Thor logo, delete effects and drag above all the layers, and apply the preset, cap brightness. This setting is created to make light of the logo in the final part of the logo, dark but brilliant after discharge of the lightnings. Always working with the effects, hue, exposure and curves, I obtain the desaturation with a diffuse luminance. OK, let's create a fade in between frames 38 and 42 on opacity. Now we set this layer to overlay mode. Oh yes, get a good result. We can appreciate all of this into the main composition. OK, we complete our logo pre-comp Thor with the last and essential step. Duplicate the basic Thor logo layer without effects, and drag under the last alpha channel layer. Set the track matte on Luma. Import the preset, logo and cap. In this the hue effect, it always has the function to desaturate the color and curve to increase the brightness. We put the layer to add mode. Wow, in this way, we make evident, even the details of the logo. Unfortunately the chrome material with high reflection have this defect, makes all the parts flat. In order to make always present the cap end of the logo, I applied an interpolation layer style color, which changes color from RGB 52, 106 and 117 to a lighter color 74, 192 and 216. And opacity, with 33% of the frame 35 and frame 80 to the value 72%. This because the predominant color of the dark clouds is the viridian green. Finally, I applied levels effect with black input from the frame 42, to make the dark parts of the Thor logo in tune with the dark clouds of the sky background. All this is very interesting. This virtuous use of alpha masks may be able to give more definition, color depth, but especially dynamicity in the sequence. OK, proceed with the insertion of the rain. Insert a black solid, rain. We import the preset rain 1. Mode, add. As we can see, it was applied to the famous CC rain effect. with an angle of 32 degrees for the rainfall drops, and a directional blur with angle, -17 degrees, to emphasize the fall movement of the drops. You could insert an interpolation for the change of angle of fall of rain, but the opacity should be present from the first frame. I prefer to bring up everything with a sweet fade, after the frame 10, in order to make the protagonist, first, the rotation of the letters of the logo, and after all the rest. If you like, you can always use the presence of rain in the early frames of the sequence. Duplicate the layer. We make it a 3D layer, and apply the second rain preset. In this way, between the movement along the z-coordinate and the different velocity, you can simulate a real rainfall in three-dimensional space. Duplicate the layer solid, and proceed with the preset lightnings. If you remember, these settings are very similar to those used in the tutorial of 300. Obviously the colors have taken on a sample of the background. The only difference is that in this preset, included here are two flashes together, which intersect at the only keyframe in the sequence. It's always very interesting to see that, with the use of frames with fast changes from 0 to 100, on core, radius and opacity glow, you create amazing results and very reals. Insert a new solid white halo clouds with the same preset. In screen mode, the technique to replicate a storm is simple. When the lightning is at the maximum of its power, is accompanied with an alternating very white glow. In this case I used equalize and curve effect to get on the base color of the clouds, the presence of white emphasis on the scene. As we can see, I applied a round mask, where in the part bottom, the feather value to 924, softens the presence of the white color at the bottom. We insert the last halo clouds presets on duplicate layer. Although this preset is similar to the first, but with alternating keyframes compared to the first. If we set the layer from screen to overlay mode, wow! When the first white halo fades, appears that the second by an effect of brightness and color, this mix makes it fabulous. Apply this technique on the other skies with storms rain, the result will always be amazing. Insert the audio file and view a quick render result. I love it, epic dark. Proceed with the final rendering. This is our final result. The final look is incredible. We have emphasized all the details of the logo, and that to say for the background, perfect for this style of animation. I remind you the next appointment for the realization of the movie title, The Avengers.
To fight the foes no single superhero could withstand. On that day, the Avengers were born.
Another animation not to be missed. I hope this tutorial has been to your liking. By Antonio Seri from CRRNTN.com. Cheers.